All right, it's the 22nd, August 2017, and I made a video this morning, and I've had to tape over this one a couple times. I got a bad thunderstorm, and then I accidentally used a bad language when I got fired up, and I realize that some of the people that listen to this are youth, and I don't want youth to think that using bad language is a good thing. Neither is smoking cigarettes and drinking whiskey. But so I wanted to redo that. I wanted to make this family friendly. But I think that there's something to educate here, right? This morning I made a video and I was pretty fired up, and I said, I think I may have used a bad word in that one too. I apologize for that. Been pretty fired up. When you get people showing up here, it fires you up. But I said that I kind of likened the Department of Agriculture to Nazis. And as I was going about my business, I thought, ooh, that's going to stir it up. I'll even name this trigger warning. That's going to stir it up. It's going to really stir it up with the bureaucrats. Why is that? Remember, it was bureaucrats that got a kid suspended from school because he took a Pop-Tart and chewed it in the, carved out what appeared to be a pistol. Those were bureaucrats. It was bureaucrats that generated a search warrant to come and search my home, my vehicles, and my computer over a picture of a ham. So these are very fragile people, and for me to call them Nazis, that could trigger all kinds of things happening, And bureaucrats, they don't actually come and, arrest you or anything like that, but they can sign orders to make that happen. Although they've kind of defecated in their nest, and you kids, if you don't know what defecation means, ask your folks, but they've defecated in their nest as far as the state police goes, because of their last thing, getting the state police here for a search warrant for a picture of a ham. So I don't know if that's going to go over too well. Maybe it will. Maybe, I don't know. There's bureaucrats within the state police too. Not many. The state police don't like that. But anyway, I used the term Nazi with them, and let me explain that a little bit. In this documentary that I watched the other night, and this is why it made me think of this, was they listed off, this was last night, they listed off the reasons why people were put into these camps, and a lot of these people were murdered by the Nazis. And the big reason that really stuck out to me at the time that I watched it, I suppose if I were a gypsy or a Jew or a homosexual, I think that those things might have stuck out to me. But where I would have found myself in one of those prison camps was I was a dissenter. A dissenter. Now, a dissenter could have been somebody that worked for the company that ran the trains that hauled people to the death camps. And that person could have said, I don't think what we're doing is right. You would find yourself on that train as a dissenter. Or you could have been somebody that worked for the Ministry of Love, let's say, and you could say, I don't think what we're doing to the Jewish people is right. You would be a dissenter, and you could find yourself in that camp. I am definitely a dissenter. What this state government is doing is way, way off of their charter. Way off. What your Attorney General is doing is a joke. He takes an oath to protect and defend the constitutional rights of the people of the state of Michigan. Has that ever happened? Anybody heard of Flint water crisis? Has that ever happened? No. These people are in place to steal from you and to use you as like workers, like the worker bees. You are the auto mechanics and the factory workers and the construction people and the doctors and the lawyers, and let me leave lawyers out. You're the doctors, and you provide a service, or you create something. The bureaucrats, I keep saying this, they create nothing. They are parasitic. They are parasitic in nature. And parasites hate dissenters. They hate that. Why? Because it threatens their way of life. I mean, if you're a dedicated parasite and somebody's calling you out as a low-life scumbag that you are, a non-producer, you don't like that. And that's the guy that's a dissenter. Get him a seat on the train. So I'm going to hold with what I said about them being Nazis. Their techniques suck. They're not upfront. They lie and they cheat. And I've said this. When they were here yesterday, I said, I want you to answer some questions. And the big question was, who wrote the letter indicating I had not paid my fees? Who generated that letter? I'm sure a clerical person did, but who directed that? Let's find that out, and that will tell us a lot about what has gone on here and who has done what and things like that. Okay, who initiated the search warrant? And at what level was that authorized? That will tell us a lot. That will tell us a lot. I guess I have kind of an in because working for the military, it's semi-bureaucratic. I don't think so, really, because we produce sorties. A sortie is a flight. And like yesterday, I said the state police produce patrols, you know. They've filled a square for a patrol. We allocate money for a patrol because we need that first responder out where we can access that first responder. And most people are glad of it. I did get some negative response on my support of the state police, and I'm going to hold my position on that. And I've got friends that have had bad times with the state police. I had one state policeman I had a really bad time with, and you know, but that doesn't mean they are all protecting the assets of the state. No, these guys go through 26 weeks of intense training. They are taught the Constitution as pertains to the citizenry. Do you realize that the Constitution is a major hassle if you're a cop? Major hassle. Wouldn't it be easier to just pull a car over and then jerk the people out of there, cuff them all, and then search? That'd be a whole lot easier. But they can't. They're restrained by the Constitution, and they study the Constitution. So they are our friends. Constitutionally, they really are our friends. County cops, not necessarily. I mean, a lot of them can absorb that material, but the training they go through is not near as intense as state police. Not near as intense. So anyway, that's my little thing on the state police again. I'm going to keep that up because I think they're getting a bad rap these days. A lot of cops are, and you don't see. I like to use this one because I saw this one time. A cop stripping his stuff off, weapon and everything, handing it to whoever was there. It was children that were there. He handed his weapon to these kids and dove in, and a kid was wedged underneath a dock and yanked that kid out, saved his life. I saw that happen, and I know who that guy is. All right, and he's a town cop. So I just think and it was a long time ago, but still, those are the people that aspire to be our protectors. Those are the sheepdogs. They are called to that line of work. Same as me. I was, but it was interrupted, as I told you yesterday, because there was a death of a policeman in our town, and I was too young for it, and I wound up going on with something else, but then joined the military. So anyway, that's my thing. But I'm going to hold with what I said about the Nazi thing, and I also have a recommendation. A lot of people, especially the bureaucrats, are going to get their feelings hurt over this. I realize it's going to hurt your feelings, right? It's going to offend you. You're offended. Well, here's what you can do. I learned this back when I was a kid. I used to go out for beers with this guy, and every time we went in this bar, he would get to the jukebox and he'd put in a quarter and play this song. It was by Morris Alpert, and the name of the song was Feelings. Right? So I want you to get that and play it and keep playing it and think about it every time you play it, and maybe it'll get you settled down. I've had great effect with it around here. You know, I have children in the house, and a lot of times they get their feelings hurt, right? And so I just sing a few bars of feelings to him from Morris Alpert. I think it was created back in the 60s. Wonderful song, but I recommend it. It's Mark from Baker's Green Acres. Anyone can farm.